Greetings and welcome back to Drasir TMD. My name is Drasir and you're watching Space Engineers Survival. That's right, today we've got a fair few things to do, one of which has already been done. As you can see, the Behe miner is gone, though not actually broken down, just put away. I will show you that in a moment. I've got to finish this. This is my top priority today, is to finish the Viatorem, which there's not honestly much to do. I think all the major components are complete. I just need to sort of button a few things up, like those blocks down there, to make sure they're all solid, fill in these two walls on both sides. There's a few bits and pieces here and there. A lot of this being open is not a huge deal, and I can do cosmetic changes on the fly if I need to. I would rather not, but I can. Let's see, what else do we need to do? There's a bit of... Oh, so these rooms up here are currently just empty rooms. There's nothing going on with them yet. I'm not quite sure what to do with them. They had originally been planned to be cabins, but I could always turn them into... what do you call it? Like, you know, living room, dining room, that kind of thing. But I think that's taking the home away from home a bit too far. This is supposed to be a vessel of some sort of organization, not a pleasure cruiser necessarily. The Rhino and the Orc needs to be put away. But I've been having a few problems with Space Engineers. I don't know if it's because of how big this grid is getting and it's messing with the game in general, but on a couple of different occasions, several different of my vehicles, including the Saint, and more importantly recently the Behe miner, their wheels sunk into the not to the voxels, into the blocks of this grid. And this one, I decided, okay, so yeah, the coloration here, I ended up calling this one the Vulture, even though it's configured to be a builder right now. And this one's going to be called the Bandit. So the Bandit and the Vulture, just because. I've been drilling out more of the bays so that we have them ready to go to store things, which is what I want to do with the Orc and the Rhino, so they have a place to sit. This one I'm probably actually going to do what I did with the one... Whoa! That's a major skip. in here where I drill down and have basically a massive storage area, but we'll see about that. And this one I just finished drilling out. So this is the rig that I used to drill these out. Now you may be wondering, why didn't I build something like this that I could move around and so on and so forth? Well, here's the thing. I also had plans to make a how-to video about, well, how to make this and set it up. And I can still do that, but the problem is that this setup is largely inconsistent, and the problem I've been having is twofold. Number one, it's inconsistent in when it detaches and merges again, because there's a slight variation in where the pistons are set, even though I'm locking it down so that it's straight and everything. For some reason there's some little bits of movement that are messing with that, and for some reason every now and then the detach and or the reattaching process damages parts of the rig. And I'm not just talking about like near the connectors or near the things. Sometimes it's as far back on the system, you know, on the connectors. It's like it travels, the damage travels for some reason. I've even had it where for some reason this piston section here, the head, got damaged, and I don't understand why. I think it's just phantom forces that have to do with the piston setup and or whatever. Space Engineers is not, while it can do these things, it's not consistent. That's the issue I'm having right now. I've done multiple tests, and every time I was like, okay, I'll run it through this time, record it and explain it, but I can't, because it keeps, there's something that always goes wrong with it, and it's not in the programming per se, it's not in the methodology, because that works just fine when it all works. It's just something in the physics, just on any given day, if there's, you know, some slight physics issue with the pistons or whatever that's causing it, and I think it's just because there's subgrids all over the place, it's causing issues. So I'm rambling today, and this is actually going to be a bit of a ramble episode, so I apologize to those in advance who are hoping for a bit more action or something like that, but it's just going to be an explanation and a showcase, because today we are finishing the Viatorem. That's top priority, as I said, because tomorrow, next episode, we are leaving! Now, to that end, this is what I came up with to store the oh, I cannot remember the name of it now. I've been saying it so far just fine. The Behemoth. This is where the Behemoth sits. A little bit of a duck your head. Okay, good. As you come through the door there, because all of these are connected so that it has a decent amount of defense. Unfortunately, none of this is connected because these rotors I've yet to drill out and actually attach to anything. Right now, the main line's coming in from the top, but that's not where it's going to be. Eventually what I'll do is drill through to get to the base that's off to our, from this perspective, to the right. So yeah, the Behemoth is stored away inside this, for want of a better word, a catacomb. Oh, so this door actually does raise, but I don't remember where I put the button for it. I'm actually going to change the speed on the rotors. So this one needs to be minus. There we go. Yeah, because the two rotors are, they have to be opposite, and if I change both of them to the same value, the two rotors are basically fighting each other. That's much faster. It's slow to represent the heaviness of the door, and it's a heavy door. I had to turn the torque up on the rotors. Oh, it does bounce a little bit, and that's why I slowed it down originally, because it was bouncing. But I think we can. And see, even when it's raised, the door is still, it is still protected by these, at least up top here, by this array of Gatling guns that I have added. But anyway, yeah, getting this thing in here was a pain in the backside, because the wheels sunk into the grid, and then when I was trying to release it, I was using, well, you can see here what happened. I was trying to use these landing gear and piston setup to lift it up out of the grids, and what I ended up doing was actually breaking these down to the point where they kind of went below the functional line, and that kind of released it, lifted it back up, repaired the wheels and then set it back down again. That kind of helped, but I don't know why the game is having issues with things moving into voxels. However, Robin Shield commented recently about a problem with having pistons, and I'll show you what I mean. Like these ones that are just pistons, and having the subgrid come down and try to lift it up. And it was all of these issues came up when the vehicles were quite heavy. And that's a real problem, because this vehicle is really heavy. I think I looked at it and it was something in the region of 10,000 tons. That's a lot of weight, and that's on all those wheels. It should be okay, but I'm starting to wonder, and so it's making me nervous about having to drive any great distance. Now, it's been happening on the grid, so maybe the voxels will be fine, I don't know. One other thing that I want to do today, and I kept forgetting about this, and now I don't have a particular spot to place them. I'll have to figure that out, but for now I won't worry about it too much. I want to repair, or I should say, I want to rebuild the two drones. The drone that I had built before with the guns and everything, but I'm going to make two of them. One just for the sake of having a drone, because they're very useful and protect me from having to go fight, and one just as backup. Let's go ahead and take you on what is essentially a final tour of the Viatorem before we set off. Not that we're going to be setting up just yet, but just to have a look at what is going on in here. So, from the outside, we've got, various defenses and stuff. Mostly sort of, it's mostly just that, defensive guns, because I'm going to be switching the drones back on to make it a bit interesting. Possibly just the vanilla ones, I don't know yet. But something to kind of keep us on our toes as we're traveling around. I've got these sort of big passageways on the sides here to get to the various things, to the various segments of the ship. Oh goodness, the vehicle. This is kind of a little medical room, a little reception desk, a chair, flowers, because why not, plants anyway. The actual medical thingamajig here, a little sort of privacy screen, even though it's not really needed. I mean, you literally just walk up to the thing and go, oh, I feel much better. That's wonderful. Quick save because the game says so. We come up here, and this kind of comes back to another corridor, and then that's just a loop right there that has access to this slightly raised section with doors for no good reason other than they're there. And none of this is airtight for the most part. It's not really necessary. I was going to make a door that leads out here. I might just fill that back up again, but this is the control room, main pilot seat, and then sort of support seats, just in case I happen to have some crew on board, which I will not be having any crew anytime soon until I can get my multiplayer stuff sorted out. As I said, I've got a few things I need to button up, like close up these gaps. This one in particular, because I don't want to be falling out of the back when I'm driving. I put a passageway in here and haven't actually welded it up yet. Oops, left a hole in the floor as well, because why not? To stop me from getting sucked into those turbines. Not that that would actually happen, but just for RP's sake. Oh, look at it! Oh, man, I haven't even finished putting those back together. So yeah, just bits and pieces, cosmetics really for the most part that haven't been finished up. This back here is the assemblers. There's the refineries that are set up here, the fuel tanks, O2 generators, storage, batteries, and very nice big sort of open sky window skylight. These two I already showed you, of course. They've got nothing in them for the moment. This is actually connected to the medical bay. This is the O2 generator for that. And then, yeah, another corridor, and it just kind of loops back around. So here's the actual, like, I guess you could call it the executive room. So this would be my room, lockers, desk to sit at and work, section to store your stuff, kitchen, more plants, because why not, bathroom, and the bed with more lockers and some light, because, can't see otherwise. I don't really like the way this lighted, the way it is lit at the moment, because right now it's like just this one section and then darkness in the corner. And then over here it's like, oh, it's very light in the middle here, and then it's darkness everywhere else. So I'll have to adjust the lighting and stuff. I'm not very good with things like that because I find that it never does quite what I think it's going to do. I'll have to maybe go through some tutorial stuff for myself to do that. More sections here where it's just open and it just needs to be buttoned up, closed up to make sure it looks more like it's actually part of the vessel. Anyway, so the Viatorem is ready to go. Ready to go in that it works, it moves, it's got storage on here, and it's got a bunch of stuff that I need to get us going when we finally get to our destination. And that is going to be the topic of the next ramble. So, you guys may remember I went through all the trouble to fly around looking for a moon launch area. And I'm probably not going to go to that spot anymore. This is where it leads to. So off in this direction over the mountains, we're gonna take a risk and go up into the air. Oh, you know what? No, I'm not. We're not gonna take a risk. We're gonna do the sensible thing and actually use the thing that I designed to do that sort of stuff, which is this. Goodness, what did I call this one? Oh man, I cannot remember now. Oh, the Kestrel. The Kestrel we shall take aloft. Let's take a look in the direction of route to the moon. So off to the right there you can see a fairly long level-ish plain, and that's fantastic. That's a great starting point for when I go on my journey. But then there's mountains. There's mountains everywhere, and I know that I've got the Viatorem set up to be basically a tank and to handle that kind of stuff, but that's a lot of very uphill mountainous terrain. And having been watching Splitsy's The Wrong Way Down? No. Yeah, The Wrong Way Down series. Love that play on words, by the way. From the Long Way Down series by, I think it was Ewan McGregor, and I cannot remember the other guy's name. I feel really bad about that, but okay, we are now almost 5,000 meters up, and yeah, not very good terrain off in that direction. However, over there's quite a lot of very nice terrain. That's off to, I don't know what direction we're facing. We're off to the south, so if we just point in this direction, that might be the easiest thing to do. Oop, tilt. So this is off to the west. Off to the west, we might have a better chance of basically traveling without having to deal with much more than, you know, these pirate bunkers and stuff like that, to get to the moon. And if I look to the left, the moon launch area is on the other side of the world, so I'd have to kind of go around anyway. And if I just kind of head sort of west, maybe southwest, I can get to within sight of the moon and not necessarily go into the mountains to do it, rather than doing a direct route from wherever I am to straight up, because it's just not going to be worth it. One of the things I was also thinking about was when... Oops, X. Okay, good. Whew. I hit the landing gear before I actually took off, and I was like, I can't take off, it's like the engines are off, that's why. About under what circumstances I'm allowed to add certain mods, and I have an idea. This is the reason why I wanted to rebuild the tank, was I had an idea to basically use the same framework that I've done now for the Viatorem and for the Bandit to create another large grid battle tank, massive tank with much more space on it, and basically like the Viatorem, but its entire surface is dedicated to defensive and or offensive, you know, weapons, armor, whatever it is I can get, and in particular to build my own turrets. And I think that it would be fun to set up tasks that mean that I can get certain technologies. As a for instance, I am not going to be building a hyperdrive until I reach the moon. Reaching the moon is the hyperdrive unlock circumstance or trigger or whatever you want to call it. Weapons. Okay, so for the criteria for unlocking new weapons would be to build my own turrets. However, I probably will not do that on the Viatorem just because, whoa, it's not supposed to be a battle tank. That's what the replacement tank was going to be. Whenever I get round to doing that, of course. So yeah, I'm not quite sure of the criteria for the other things that I want to build, except for I'm thinking very strongly that the one thing I want more than anything else is the build and repair system. Now, I have already built a repair or building vehicle that works very well. That's one criteria. I have built 2 now different welding air vehicles, which would be, you know, similar sort of criteria. I have built a self-welding mechanism that was the drill system which you saw at the beginning that helped to drill out this thing. That's how I built the drill so quickly, and I've been using that system to build, or something similar, to build all the other drill sets that have drilled out all the tunnels, the bays that are in here. So the only thing I think I need to do left to unlock the build and repair system is to build a mechanism that automatically builds I forget what it was now. Oh, the drones. And I can do that quite easily set up out here by having a piston, extending it outwards, attaching something else probably just to the base that has a small grid projector, project the drone, and then gradually pull the piston backwards very slowly. So that's what I'm going to do. Unknown signal. Oh, I can't turn that down. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and grab this unknown signal, and then we will work on the auto builder. And that, I think, will be enough criteria to unlock the build and repair system. Though whether I'll use that when we get into space or before I leave for space, I think before, because it'll make building the rocket, whatever I end up making, easier. So to start this off, very simple. I think what I'm going to do is, I'm tired of moving around this stuff, so I'm going to grab the parts I need for one of these. A small cargo container. It says I've got them all, so I'm going to trust it. Plunk that down there. I tend to do that a lot. I'll just set up a small cargo container somewhere to act as a point at which I can pull parts out, because I need them all the time. Alright, let's go ahead and extend the piston out and see how far that actually goes. While we're waiting for that to happen, let's get the welder queued up. Now, because the thing that I'm going to be welding up is so small, I might be able to get away with just the one welder. Let's just do 3 and see where the chips fall. We're going to need a rotor. We're going to need it to go just there. Now, try as I might, I have never understood which way around these go. I was under the impression that this was the top, and that there, the sort of minus, was the front. Let's go ahead and try it, see what it is. Since it's going to make it a little bit easier if I do this, I'm going to go to a control panel as well. So now we can access this. We can go to the projector. Look for the... Did I blueprint it? I'll go look really quick, and hopefully I did, because that would be really bad if I didn't. Okay, so I was able to find it. It turns out it was called something that I wasn't expecting. Oh, it's got a landing gear for some reason. I suppose it's just to drop it down. Now, that's certainly wide enough. Is it going to be tall enough? Ain't no mountain wide enough. So it's gonna have to go forward. I believe forward anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 at least blocks. So let's go ahead and do that. Forward offset 10. Okay, not quite. So 11 is the magic number, because we don't want it in the projector itself. Whoa. You guys seeing this? The gun barrels are like not attached for some reason. Weird. Now let's make sure that that's plenty of room for it to move backwards, so that's perfect. In fact, I think the gun barrels are just projected and they're not moving at all. I think they've been moved off of this grid and they're not moving with it. Okay, so nice and simple. Oh, that's a bit of a shame. Yeah, that's in the way. Okay, so let's just move these back just a smidge. Just a smidge. So let's reverse and say 9.5. Reverse again. And see if that gives us enough room. Yes, it does. Okay. Alright, so what's going to happen? In theory, I'm going to turn these welders on. They're going to start welding these blocks that are here, that are right next to the weld limits. I need to make sure that I'm actually connected to the grid. I am. And then I'm going to very slowly move the welders backwards, probably at 0.1 to begin with. And then I can adjust the speed as I need to. Alright, let's not talk about it. Let's be about it. Oh, wait, sorry, hang on. Welders, let's switch those on, because that would be really unfortunate if we didn't. Okay, so it did weld a connector, that's a good sign. Piston, let's go ahead and name that welding. Welding, and let's say minus 0.01 to start with. That's pretty slow, but I want to make sure it actually welds properly. That's really slow. Okay, let's do 0.5 and see what happens. Minus 0.05. It's a bit faster. Hopefully this will be enough. Yes, okay, good. It's the engines I'm worried about because they're further back than they look. Okay. Whew. I think it's working. And the nice thing about this too is as soon as I'm done with this, I can disconnect this from that grid, move it out of the way, and literally print off another one. Here goes. Oh, but I wasn't able to print that camera. Okay, well, that's fine. Let's go ahead and take control of this thing. Yes, it is. Let's move him to the side. Time to turn off these welders and reset. So, welders. Oops. Welders, those three. Off. Let's reset this piston. Reverse. Actually, let's go ahead and say go all the way up to ludicrous speed, because we don't want to wait while we're wanting to do that. The welders can all go back on, and the piston can be set back to, what did I have it on? It was minus 0.25. Excuse me, 0.05. So this is really nice. This is, I can basically print off my own drones at this point without any particular trouble. There's no reason why I can't just attack with drones constantly. Oh, now did it actually? It did. Look, it actually welded up the camera this time. So that's fantastic. This one will I'll have to add a camera separately. Let's go ahead and do that. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and name the grid. Technically this is 0, 2 because unfortunately the original Hastings, let's rename it something different. Hastings sounds like a butler name, so let's call it something like well, not Jarvis. No, actually, no. He was a butler originally. The original Jarvis, not Jarvis the AI. So, Jarvis will be the second of the drones. Let's go ahead and disconnect this one. This one we shall call Hudson, not the river. Hudson from I think it was Sherlock Holmes. Gosh, which episode or which book was that? I can't remember. Too distracted. Focus! Yes, I probably am going to name every single one of my drones, and I will cry for each and every one of them. In fact, why don't we have a tombstone or some sort of memorial for Hastings? Why hasn't that been a thing? Let me go ahead and get these things their parking space. Yeah, so it's actually set into the armor. Alright, and what we're going to do is we're going to control it from right here. So this will be the side for... Gosh, I've forgotten their names already. Jarvis, attend me. Oh, we're locked, so 6 up. Oh, no. 9. Gosh. It's a wonder these drones have survived as long as they have. I'm just not used to remote controlling things, which is not much of an excuse. Oh, I could kill me so easily right now. But remember, it's all backwards. It's all backwards. Opposite. Okay, opposite day. Okay. Here we go. Oh, we are on the ball. Locked. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Oh. No! No, my precious ammo! No! Come! Fortunately, I've got lots and lots of magnesium, so we are not by any stretch of the imagination lacking in ammo. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the same thing. Remote access. This time we want Hudson. The thrusters are on. We want to unlock, we want to take off into the air, and we want to move over in a this way direction. Oh, I'm so tempted now that I've got drones, like a drone manufacturing facility. I'm so tempted to go like poke at these things and see what they're like. Because if I lose drones to that, then it's not a huge deal. Lock. And there we go. So those will now be charging, hopefully. I suppose I could set the batteries to recharge. Let's not worry about that right now. Okay, so that means that we have access to immediate drones when we're on the move. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to, since I've reached the criteria for the build and repair system, I'm going to go ahead and add that. I said that I was going to add mods over time anyway, and to have some sort of goal to reach to allow myself to do that, this works very well. I can still use something like this if I really wanted to, but I'm going to add the build and repair system because it's such a time saver, and it'll mean I can do other stuff more rather than running around trying to build things up. And it's the same reason I want to add some of the other mods. One of the ones I'm really not sure of how to justify is the shields. And I think I may have said this before. I just don't know what to do for them. Like what the criteria would be. But I can figure that out at another time. So yeah, I think it's honestly just going to be finishing up the Viatorem, and we're good to go. What I will do is I will continue welding this stuff up and putting things on, and I will get back to you and show you what we've got in a little bit. In fact, while I'm doing that, let me grab some steel plates so I can start welding, and I can talk to you about something else that I need to talk to you about that has to do with more in real life stuff than game related things, though it's going to affect the channel as a whole. In real life, I have got a new job. Now, the schedule for that is going to be different from what I'm currently doing, and that's going to mean that my schedule for releasing videos might have to change. Currently, I'm doing videos every Sunday and Wednesday, but I might have to. I wonder if I can pull items from here. Steel plate. I can. Okay, cool. I'll just go back to the tank. Yeah, Sundays and Wednesdays is my target for releasing videos, but that may have to either slow down or even become much more erratic than it currently is, just because I don't know what my schedule is going to be like. It's because of the nature of the job, it's going to require me to do weekends and evenings on occasion, and that is definitely going to mess with my well, all kinds of things. It's a good change. I'm really glad to have the opportunity to do the kind of work that I applied for, but it is going to mean some things won't necessarily be as expedient as they currently are. Not that they are at the moment anyway. But I'll keep you guys apprised of that as it comes along. And like I said, this channel, as much fun as it is, at the moment for me it's just a hobby. And I don't think it will ever become anything more than that, just because the content I do is very samey. It's not anything, it's not different compared to what others do, really. I just enjoy doing it. I like making the videos. It gives me a purpose as to playing the game, as opposed to just playing the game and then like cheating or, you know, skipping things because I can. In this way I can set myself rules and you guys can keep me accountable, so it's as much, you know, something fun for me to do as it is hopefully something entertaining for you guys. So you know, I'm hoping it's a win-win for both of us, but you know, who knows? Who knows? Alright, and that really is all we have time for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Look forward to the next one, where we will finally get to start moving off towards our destination for our launch base. Sonic reference for you there. And yeah, we will actually get to traveling and maybe have some more fights, because I'll be turning the drones and stuff back on. We'll see. We'll see how that works out. I really appreciate you sticking with me all this time, and hope you're enjoying it. If you are, hit the like button, subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff. And you all have a good one, and I'll see you on the other side.